Hello everyone. Welcome to my live stream Visual Basic Programming Hour. This is a casual programming experiment. Basically, I just want to spend 1 hour with everyone and do some basic Visual Basic programming. So I'm using Visual Studio 2019, so it's the latest version. Everyone can easily download it by just going to Microsoft's website, and community version is free, so you can download and install your own Visual Basic. All you need is a PC or a laptop. So let's let me introduce you to the environment. So as you can see, I have already opened a project here. It's a Visual Basic Windows Forms application. So you can see that I have a main form here, and there are menus and toolbar at top. I have support for debugging or like start the program. Then these are very interesting items. It's my toolbox containing various UI controls, so like buttons or text boxes. You can say input controls mainly. And then on the right side, we have our Solution Explorer showing our project. So its project is under solution, which is called VB Coding 2020. And then there are like other things like my project or references. So it contains some basic .NET libraries, so you can see them here. We need drawing capabilities as well, some XML, Windows Forms libraries. And then this is my main form. Even if I close it, I can reopen it by double clicking here. So this is our form, our basic window. I can resize and adjust that. And then last thing is the properties window. So you can see this here. It contains, at the moment, it contains all the properties related to selected object. So at the moment, form is selected, so you can see that it's in the top in the drop down here, and then all the properties that are changeable on the form. So it contains different properties like behaviors or appearance properties. At the moment, these are categorized here. These are like alphabetically organized at the moment, but we can categorize them. So different properties like accessibility, appearance, font, like behavior, data, design, layout. So we can see all the different types of categories. We can even change window style of the form. So whether it's a resizable window or dialog window, things like that. So let's try to change our title of the form. So let's find property called text. So let's try to change this. Let's call it my form. So it's immediately changed here. So it's nice. At the moment, our form is in design mode. So it's not like a full-fledged window right now. It's just fixed here in the designer. So in order to run this or see the preview, we click on the start button. So let's try that. It's building the project. Okay, there it is. So this is a normal window. We can move it, we can maximize, minimize, resize. So all of these features are built in, and then we can minimize, maximize, and close If you click on close, it'll also end the program. So we'll go back to the design mode. And you can notice some additional windows here. These are diagnostic tools which are very helpful as you're running the program or debugging it, so you can check the performance, memory consumption, CPU usage, and any issues or exceptions if you get any. At the moment, we're not getting any exceptions, which is really good. And then there are other windows like this output window. So if we can see several messages here if something is wrong with the program, or if you print something to debug window ourselves, like using our program. So let's close this and try to add some features to this. Enough with the blank form for now. So let's start with our button. I think that's the most basic control. So as I add button, I can see different properties. So here are all the properties of the button. Let's review them one by one. So most important, once again, let's look at our text property. So let's call this show message. So basically, when we click on the button, I want to show a message box containing our traditional message, hello world. So that's there. Also, it's very good to name controls properly. So instead of generic button one, I would like to call it like btn show message. Okay, that's there. So let's run the program and see how it looks. Okay, there it is. So you can see it automatically picked Windows theme that I have selected, and I can see that when I click it, it changed color, background color, but it's not doing anything. That's because I have to write actual code to do anything. So let's try to add a message box. So in order to add an event handler, I can double click on the button, or in the properties window, if I click on this events icon, I can see all the different events that are available. So most important for button is the click event, and you can see a little description here. It occurs when component is clicked. So at the moment our component is button. So I'm just going to double click here and create a click event handler. There it is. So we can see it's under public class form1. So form1 is our main form, and then this is our body of event handler. So public sub, and then name of our button underscore click. So and you can see that it handles buttons click event. So this is special Visual Basic syntax telling that this method handles the click event of our button. So let's try to add some code here. In Visual Basic, we can use single code for comments. So I can just type single code and just types anything like this will display hello world message. So next is, let's try to add actual code. So in Visual Basic, we have a function called msgbox, and it basically can take some text and display it as a message. So let's just say hello world, and just keep it simple and run this and see the output. So instead of clicking on the start button, I can also use the debug menu and I click on start debugging, or otherwise I can press this shortcut key F5. So let me try to press F5 and run the program. Okay, there it is. So let's click on the button and see if we get the message box. There it is, hello world. So it's pretty simple message box, just a message box without any other information or icon. So let's try to add an icon to the message box. We want to show this as information. So in order to do that, I can select a message style. It's like message box style dot information. So you can notice that I'm getting these tooltips or help basically. So that's very useful. You know, like what's the message, what's the method's purpose, and like what kind of parameters you can provide. So let's run this again and see. Okay, so there it is. I can see this here, hello world, and it is like same message box with just this new icon. So let's press OK and go back to code. Okay, so this message box is Visual Basic specific. Like you cannot use it from C# or other .NET languages, but there is like a .NET style message box class as well. So if you want to try message box dot show, so this is similar to C# message box. So as you can say, .NET style message box. So I can display this message here, hello world. Let's comment this out. We don't want to execute it for now. So let's try this and see the output. It's going to be very identical. It's going to be kind of exactly like the one here. So let's try to run it. Okay, let's show message. There it is, hello world. So let's try to add information icon to it. So in order to do it, so there are many overloads of this method, and like there are multiple versions of this method that take different arguments or parameters. So these are like caption, and we have to look for the right message box. So let's go with this one, caption, like and buttons, button, okay, and icon. So message box icon information. So we have a little different syntax here. It's instead of message box style, it's saying message box icon. So let's go with this and see what happens. So I don't want to change title, but I have to pass something. So let's say VB coding 2020. Let's try to run it. Okay, let's press OK and see the results. There it is. So hello world with the information icon. Okay, so let's do a little more experiments. Let's see different icons that are available. So instead of information, let's also look at other method options. Okay, I think this is the best one. So there can be other thing, exclamation. So it's basically yeah. There you can see the description here at exclamation point in a triangle with yellow background. So let's see what we get. Okay, so when we run this, show message, there it is. So this is exclamation sign within this yellow triangle. So let's try others. There is warning as well. Yeah, same as exclamation. So let's try question, be a question mark. Yeah, so you can see that here. And if there is a problem, you can see there is error style as well. So it'll display a red icon. So there it is. And there is a beep with that as well. That means that there is something wrong. So normally you go with information icon or no icon, and then question, explanation, warning. Like those are special scenarios. You can also try these. Like, let's see. Okay. So once again, that's also an error message. So let's go back to information. Okay. So other things we can try is let's try to customize this button a little. So let's look at, let's go back to properties first and try to change appearance. So let's try to change the background color of the button. So at the moment it's set to control. Say if we change to active caption, there it is. So we're able to easily change the colors. We can choose any named colors, like maybe tomato. That looks good. So let's try to run this. There it is. Our message box with custom background color. So that is our button with custom background color. We can also try to change fore color. So here is our fore color, and if we go to button properties, let's choose Misty Rose. It's interesting. Let's try some other combination. Let's try forest green. Okay. I think we should change background color as well. Let's make it more light. Let's try wheat. Okay, so that's a better contrast. Normally system colors are more recommended for applications, so they are like automatically they can adjust with the system theme. So let's try to run this. Okay, so there it is. You can see it highlighting. You can press it, and when release, it shows the message. Okay. There is also flat appearance. So there is this flat style. So right now it's standard, but there are multiple options like system, pop-up, flat. So let's try them one by one. Okay, so flat, it's more looking 2D right now. So our 3D effect is gone for now, but it's more, it looks more responsive and mouse is over the button. Let's change that again. Say pop up. Okay, so it's a little different style, kind of 3D effect when we mouse over. Okay, and then standard and system. So system, it's back to system colors. There is kind of more highlight effect than standard. Let's go for standard once again. Okay, so once again we have our colors back. So let's try to reset the button style. Let's go for standard foreground color. It was control and control text. And for background color, let's choose control. There is also like custom colors that gives us option to choose any color from these colors, or we can choose web or system. Let's choose control once again. Okay. Let me add one more button just for reference. Okay, so looks a little different, but let's figure things out. Interesting. So this second button, it's since I just added it, it's not doing anything. But I can click on it and see the behavior and adjust properties of it. But it's a whole new entity. So on the form, I can see that there are like all the unique properties here, name for it. So that's called button 1. Okay, let's compare some properties. So basically in this control, background color is control and forecolor is control text. Let's look at the new button. So forecolor, control text, and back color is control. That's kind of interesting. Like, still same properties. Yeah. So there we can notice one difference, that use visual style back color is false for this. So let's try to enable that and see. So now both of these are identical. So when we run this, we see these are like just standard buttons, and the one that is selected, that its border becomes bold. So if I click with the mouse and just like drag out, it is selected without clicking the button. So Let's Visual Studio also provides a lot of assistance in designing controls or aligning or moving controls. You can see some assistive uh, lines here that help snap controls uh, on the form, so we can set a minimum distance like that is like recommended by Visual Studio, or like we can align other attributes like middle or at bottom here as well. And when we resize control, there is also like it snaps to the size, and we can easily drop it here to make the controls same size. Then there are some, let's say, there are some formatting options. If I select both controls and go to format menu and say I want to align tops, so and make them at same level uh, at so their tops will be at same height. So that's there. So basically, if I want to make the, yeah, okay, so looks like this highlighted or this white selection, that's going to be considered the primary height. So let's try that again. So there it is. So other control with black selection, it aligned with the white selection boxes. So let's try to add one more control to confirm that we get three kind of selection boxes. So at the moment, if we select like this white text, that's going to be like considered primary. So let's say we want to align our controls in relation to button in the middle. So what I can try is let's make this highlighted. It's taking some time. Let me select this first and then these. Okay, so now button 1 is primary control for formatting. So now if I do align tops, both controls on the side will align to the middle control. So there it is. So this is interesting thing to remember, that the primary control is one with the light selection handles. And then there are a lot of other options, like we can align basically center in form horizontally. Okay, so and then let's try to make them center in the form vertically as well. So there it is. So those are like some handy formatting options. We can also lock controls on the form. So for example, if position of this control is fixed, like I can click on lock. So basically like all of the controls are locked. So now I cannot make accidental changes to the form. Controls are just locked, and I cannot even resize the form. So that's good to prevent accidental changes. So in order to once you're done with the UI and you're just working with events or just looking at form and don't want to make any changes, then you can simply lock controls. When you want to unlock controls, you can just do that again, right click and click on this, and then like now controls are unlocked, and form is also unlocked. I can resize the form. So let me try to make the form smaller. So let's try to make it more compact. So that's done, and then let's align it in the center. So horizontally and vertically. So that's very handy. It's automatically did very precise alignment. So let's try to start again. Okay, there it is. So this is in this is automatic alignment is very helpful in large scale applications that require professional layout. So those can be helpful instead of trying to do things manually and not able to do it in a perfect design. It's better to just use the format menu. So let's try to get some space and do some more experiments. So there are options to add image to button as well. So, but at the moment I have not added any image, so I'll just skip that for now. But we can try that in some next session. So let's leave that for now. But that is doable. Like if you want to get that done, our standard button, like it supports image. We can also adjust a lot of properties from properties window as well. For example, we can change size, location of the button. Like we can just simply modify X and Y properties and be exact there. Also, there is an interesting thing that is basically, but before that, let's look at cursor options. At the moment, like it's a default cursor, but we can choose any other cursor, for example, like hand cursor. So let's try to run this and see the effect. Yeah, there it is. So now when we roll over the button, we see the hand cursor and standard cursor for other buttons. And if you click it, we get the same standard behavior. So let's set our cursor to default once again, and default, let's pick this. There it is. So these cursors are also built in. You don't have to add any icons to the project. One other interesting property is we can look at different text alignment properties. So text align, you can see right and even bottom left, center, bottom right, top, center. So default is middle, center. So that's an interesting way to set this. You can visually select the position of the text. And you can see descriptions for each property. Visual Studio comes with pretty nice documentation, so you can get little tooltips about different properties, methods, events, and then you can find detailed documentation about languages at MSDN library. So the other thing I wanted to show was basically alignment property. So let me find it first. Yeah, so this anchor property, that's very useful for control alignments in case of resize of form. So for example, if you want to keep our buttons aligned at the bottom of the form, no matter like the size, we can use this property. Let's get to that again. Yeah, this anchor property. Its name is a little tricky, but you need to remember that. And default, you can see it's top left. So uh, it always stay connected with it. It'll always have the same distance from top and the left side, no matter the size of the form. So try to run it, and you can see that here. But when we resize, it never change position, and even if the form is smaller, then we lose our buttons. So uh, let's try to make them more responsive, so they automatically change position based on the size of the form. So let's try to make them attach to bottom and left side. So we don't want to move them basically horizontally, but we want to keep them attached to the bottom. So let's try to do that. Selected, go to anchor property. So instead of top, we want to remove top, and we want to keep attached to bottom. So let's try this. So there it is. It's pretty handy. You can see that buttons always stay aligned, or they stick with the bottom. So it's even usable or on like very small form as well. So this can all of controls support these basic properties. So no matter button or text boxes or combo boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, all controls behave similarly. In .NET, most of these controls are based on control base class. So those properties come from control base class. So we can be assured that they work quite similarly. Let me let me try to add a text box control and see if we can make a nice layout. Also, let's make these buttons functional as well. Like let's make this an exit button. So let's change our text exit, and uh, let's use this button to add text to our text box. So instead of show message, I'm going to name this button, call it write message. Okay, so let's add our text box. I can go to text box from here, or I can just simply type here and search for text box. There it is. Simply drag and drop, and at the moment it's a very small text box. That is basically it's a single line text box. I want to make it multi-line, so click here. So it's easy as that. Now I can resize it according to my liking, and let's say, yeah. One other thing is we can add scroll bars to a multi-line text box. So scroll bars are helpful if our content exceeds the limit or size of the control. So we can enable horizontal, vertical, or both. I'm going to select both. At the moment, it's called text box 1. That's it's a good idea to give a name to controls. So I'm going to call it txt message. And let's name our buttons. I'm going to start with prefix of btn for button, write message. And for exit, let's call it btn exit. Okay. So let's add our code for these. And before doing that, let's also do some anchor properties. So same thing here. I want to align it to the uh, let's look at a demo and then fix something. Okay, so looks like text box is aligned to bottom, but that's not very helpful because we can use this empty space at top for text box. So let's change the anchor property and keep it aligned to top as well. So it's easy as that. You don't have to write any code for these resize behaviors. So most of scenarios are covered, but you can write your custom code as well. Like if you can handle the resize event of the form. So let's try to. So when we click on write message, let's try to write hello world in the text box. Okay. So let's double click. Interesting. We have a button to click event, but we don't want it for now. Let's just delete this. In Visual Basic, we can easily delete our event handlers, and there is no problem. In C#, we have to be careful. Sometimes deleting here also requires deletion of this action from here as well. So at the moment, we can see we don't have a event attached with exit for now. So let's write our event for message. So let's do the same thing. So, but for our text box, which is called txt message. To set its text, we're going to set property text or send this to the text. So hello world. Let's run it. Okay, so just click on this and there it is. We get our hello world text. So last thing, we want to add the code to exit or close our program here. There are various ways, like in Visual Basic, we can use basically end keyword. So it stops execution immediately. So you can try this. Click on that, it ends the program. Or using .NET style, say application dot exit. So it'll also do same thing. You see the description. So if I want to see a tooltip again, one option is that I delete this bracket, add it again. So it gives me this tooltip here that informs all message pumps that they must terminate, and then closes all application windows after the messages have been processed. So it basically tells the application that it's time to quit. So I can delete this parentheses and type it again. I get the description. Or if I don't want to do that, better way is to press Control, Shift, and space. So I get this message very clean and clear way. So I can easily read the description here. So similarly, I can just roll over all the methods as well and see this description. Even this text property. So it tells me that it gets or sets text. Can roll over on click event. So it shows me occurs when control is clicked. So this is by control, and it's not showing me anything on these keywords, but more information can be found on MSDN library. So this is good. Like we have, let's try this again. Can show our message box, write our message, and then click on exit to close the program. So I'm really hoping that it was a fun Visual Basic programming hour. I wanted to keep it casual and very simple. Just wanted to spend an hour exploring the IDE, the programming environment, our form designer, code editor, and some debugging features. I've not looked at any debugging features with breakpoints, or like looking at examining the runtime environment. Visual Studio has like very detailed, very easy to use debugging features. So basically, you can pause your program during execution and run your code line by line. Give you a basic demo of that, so you know like what I mean by debugging. So basically, let's look at this hello world assignment here. So we're assigning this text to the text box. So in this gray area, or this line here, you can see after the line numbers, it becomes like cursor goes to standard or default. If I click here, it adds this yellow, or basically a red dot or a circle. So that's a breakpoint. So it highlights the line as well. And the purpose of this is that you can break your program, or pause your program at this line on runtime. Let's try that. So if I start, click on this, because this code is attached to button click event. There it is. So I just hit the breakpoint, and now we are in debug mode. So at the moment, text is not assigned. So so let's in order to move forward, we can just click on from this debug toolbar, click on step over. So it means this line is executed. Now our program pointer, like that's the execution pointer, that's is on the next line. So I don't want to debug this part, so I can just click on continue. So you see code execution is done and message is assigned. So that style, it's very useful to understand programs or fix any problems or add new features. It's basically one of the strengths of Visual Studio. So I'm out of time now. So I hope this is a good introduction and a pleasant session as well. So hopefully I'll be doing more sessions like this regularly with different programming languages. Today was Visual Basic. Uh, let's see how uh, what's I'm thinking of doing a few more sessions with Visual Basic to cover the basic controls, and then we'll look at some graphics programming or animation. Hopefully that will be very helpful and fun experience. And later on, we can cover other languages. I'm planning to do some sessions related to JavaScript and P5.js library, which is really fun to use. So thank you for attending this session. Looking forward to meeting you in the next session. Take care and bye for now.